local fauna or to ponder the future. His phalanx of Libyan spearmen, hidden to his rear where the undergrowth afforded better concealment, needed supplies as much as he did. He had another purpose, too. His eyes traced the line of the empty muddy track that ran past his hiding place, arrowing through the fragile young wheat, straight to the town's front gate. There were fresh holes in the nearest icy puddles, evidence that sometime that morning a horse had been ridden hard towards the town. The sentry had told him about it. Hanno felt sure that it would have been a messenger carrying word to Victumuli of the Carthaginian army's approach. A thin smile traced his lips at the thought of the alarm that would have caused. Since Hannibal's stunning victory at the river Trebia, every Roman for 100 miles had been living in fear of his life. Farms, villages, and even smaller towns had been abandoned. Terrified citizens had fled to anywhere that had thick walls and a garrison to defend them. The widespread panic had worked to the Carthaginians' advantage. Exhausted first by their harrowing crossing of the Alps, and then by the savage battle with a double consular army, they had badly needed to rest and recuperate. Even so, hundreds of men, injured and whole, had died in the harsh weather that had followed the fighting. All but 7 of the 30-odd elephants had succumbed too. Ever the canny general, Hannibal had ordered his weakened forces to stay put. All non-essential military duties had ceased for a week. The deserted homesteads and farms had been a blessing, needing nothing more than men with accompanying mules to empty them of food and supplies. These provisions soon ran out, however. So too did the foodstuffs offered by their new Gaulish allies. 30,000 men consumed a vast amount of grain daily, which was why the Carthaginians had broken camp the week before. At that very moment, they were marching on Victumuli. Word had it that the wheat stored behind its walls would feed them for weeks. Hanno's patrol was one of a number that had been sent out to reconnoitre the terrain in advance. He only had to return if he found evidence of an enemy ambush. Otherwise, he could wait in the vicinity until the main force reached the town, which would be in the next day or two. To his satisfaction, the countryside had been bare of nearly all human life. Apart from one clash with the enemy, from which they had emerged victorious, and a night spent in a friendly Gaulish village, it had been like travelling through a land inhabited by ghosts. Hannibal's cavalry, which was ranging far ahead of the infantry units, had brought more interesting news. Most of the survivors of the recent battle were holed up in Placentia, which lay some 50 miles to the southeast. Others had fled south, beyond the Carthaginians' reach, while an unknown number had sought refuge in places such as Victumuli. Despite the inevitability that the town would fall to Hannibal's superior forces, Hanno had taken the risk of moving closer to it than any of the cavalry units. He wanted to discover how many defenders they would face when the attack came, perhaps even strike a blow at an enemy patrol. Thus armed, he might be able to win his general's favour again. It was unfortunate how things currently stood, he brooded. Ever since Hannibal had assembled a vast army and used it to take Saguntum, reopening hostilities with Rome, Hanno had longed for nothing more than to join the general in his struggle. What hot-blooded Carthaginian wouldn't have wanted to take revenge upon Rome for what it had done to their people? After being reunited with his family, things had started well. Hannibal had honoured Hanno with the command of a phalanx, yet it had all gone wrong soon after that. Hanno's pulse quickened as he remembered recounting to Hannibal what he had done during an ambush on a Roman patrol a few days before the battle at the Trebia. Hannibal's fury at the news had been terrifying. Hanno had come within a whisker of being crucified. So too had Bostar and Sappho, his brothers, for not intervening. Since then, his general's disapproval would have been patent to a blind man. In that ambush, he had let 2 Roman cavalrymen, Quintus, his former friend, and Fabricius, Quintus's father, go free.